Hello DEXA, hello Techvival Africa Conference. My name is Nicholas Sharia. I'm the CEO of Mocha. Mocha is a vibe coding tool, an app builder, and it's designed to be an app builder for people that have no technical knowledge. We want to make it possible for anybody that has an idea but no technical expertise to build things and ship them in the world. We think that AI has unlocked this new era of productivity and entrepreneurship and empowerment. And previously, building things was gatekept, and you had to be a developer or you had to pay a developer, which is a very expensive skill, to build things. But now, with the power of AI, we can build apps like Mocha, which allow people to build and operate businesses online without having need for any kind of technical expertise or even have a developer on the team. Mocha is different than some of the other app builders. We really expect you to know nothing about databases, authentication. These might be words you don't even know, and that's fine. Our goal at Mocha is to make it so that you have an idea and you could build it and you could deploy it and it just works. And so today I'm going to do a session with you, which is a vibe coding exploration. We're going to walk through building and deploying apps on Mocha. I'm going to do it through an example to make everybody comfortable. All right, let's dive in. Cool. So this that I'm showing you right now is Mocha's homepage where you're signed out. You can explore it. There's a bunch of example apps. I'll let you explore this on your own time. There are some wonderful testimonials. People like Mocha. And so if you try it and you like it, you can send me a testimonial. It might go on our website. But let's start by signing in. So it's free to make an account. You can get started for free. I'm going to log in with Google. You could log in with Google, or you could just make a new account. So I have a bunch of apps. This would be empty for you. These are my apps, but we're going to ignore these for a second, and we're going to just create a new application. So the app we're going to build today is a pretty straightforward idea, which is a recipe sharing site. So I'm going to show you, we're going to build a very basic version, and then we're going to slowly add some features. I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot when things go wrong. And we're also going to add some of our custom assets, use AI to generate images. Then we'll add authentication. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very easy. And you could follow along and do this yourself. So I'm going to start by, we're starting our app and building it from scratch. What should we be thinking here? So generally, by the way, when you're building a product, you should spend time thinking about what the product is, what it should do, what it shouldn't do. A big mistake a lot of people make, especially first-time builders, is that they try to do too much. So when you're building a product for a specific audience and you're solving a specific problem. It should be very clear in your head what the audience is and what the problem you're solving is. Once that's clear in your head, that's very helpful. You can then minimize your product to solve only that problem and to be kind of like surgically useful. In Silicon Valley or in tech, we often call this MVP, minimum viable product. So it's like the minimum amount of features and product you need to build to actually deliver value. So to give you an example of what you shouldn't do is if you want to build a recipe site, maybe you start building subscriptions and pricing and ads and a mobile app and a web app and an Android. Like that's too much. Really what you got to do is boil it down to like, why is this useful? Who am I building for? What is the core features? And so our core features is that we want a recipe site where users can discover and share recipes. They can favorite them. And then it's like really beautiful and clean, such that if they want to look at the recipe while they're in their kitchen, it's like not full of ads and stories. And I don't know if you've used recipe sites, but they're often full of cruft that I hate. So we're gonna tell Mocha, let's build a recipe sharing site. Let's keep it simple. I like saying this so Mocha doesn't go overboard. Let's add the ability to log in, so users will have accounts. Then let's add the concept of a recipe. Users should be able to add recipes to their profile. And go. All right, Mocha's about done. It's giving me some conclusions here. So it's been a few minutes, it's been 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Mocha wrote 11 files. The database was updated. I'm going to restart it. Sometimes it crashes when it restarts. So let's see where we are. Here we go. Welcome to Flavorvault. So this is what our website looks like. So I'm going to show you, before we get into it, this is an interactive app here, by the way. But before we get into that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the layout. So first of all, on the left is the chat panel. So notice this is what I asked Mocha. Then this is Mocha's response. It'll kind of give me information here. If we're having a conversation in discuss mode, it'll just chat with me. If I turn discuss mode off, it will make changes to the application on the right. You can add images here. We'll do this in a second. I'll show you. We can upload images, and you submit your messages by just hitting this button. You could collapse the chat panel if you wanted, and then you have your main app panel here showing you the app. So this is a preview. We call this the preview. It's running in a sandbox. It's not yet on the public internet. Only you could see it. On the preview, you could, if we had multiple pages, we don't right now, you could navigate to them. It's like a mini web browser. And then there are logs that you can get into if there are any bugs. You typically don't need to touch this unless there's an issue, and then you could kind of ask the Mocha team. The Mocha team will ask you to send them the logs. You could look at what it looks like on mobile. This is not a mobile app. This is just a mobile website. So it's what you would see if you opened Safari or Chrome on your mobile app, on your mobile device. And then you could see it full screen, which is just a way of seeing what it looks like. We're in the build tab, which is where you'll spend 90% of your time. But if you were technical, or if you're working with a technical person, there's a code tab where you can see all of the code. And you can. This is actually editable code, so you could come and modify any of this if you wanted. I recommend not touching this unless you know what you're doing. We put it here for power users. Here's the data tab, where we provide you with a database. So real useful applications have persistent data. A very basic example is if I log into this app, what's it called? Flavor Vault. If I log into Flavor Vault one day and then I come back the next week, it needs to remember me. It needs to remember Nicholas. So how does it do that? It puts my record in a database. All the recipes are going to be records in a database. And so you need a database for like 90% of the ideas that you're going to want to build. And Mocha provides one for you, it deploys it for you, it manages it for you. This is all done for you, which is a really real big strength of Mocha. And so you can see that our AI has created a table called recipes, and there's a table called users, which is when people click login, it's going to go to the users table, and it's created this recipes table. No matter what your idea is, Mocha would basically design your database to support the idea that you're working on. And then finally, there's settings where you could change the project name, description. These would influence what it looks like when you send it to your friends on WhatsApp or on Facebook. You know, it's the sharing settings. Open Graph Metadata is what it's called. So you could come change this if you wanted to own it yourself. You can make the project private or public based on if you're a subscriber or not. You can't make them private if you're not a subscriber. That's a subscriber perk. And you can also hide the watermark when you publish it. We'll talk about that in a second. These are the assets. I don't have any yet. We'll cover this in a second. Publishing, we just went over this. You could choose your domain. We could call it Flavor Vault. That means that when we deploy it, it'll be deployed to flavorvault.mocha.app. Let's actually do this right now. So you could deploy things in Mocha. I use this, but you could also do it from here. You could deploy things in Mocha in one click. Deploying means publishing your website to the public internet. Once it's deployed, you could share it with your friends. It's live. It's like a website like facebook.com or whatever. And we provide you with what's called a subdomain. So it's like you can pick the name .mocha.app, but if you wanted, you could also manage your own domains and add a custom domain. If you owned like, I don't know, food.com, good for you, first of all, that's a great domain. Second of all, you could link it in Mocha and you could deploy to that domain. And we make it very easy. So this is now deployed. So now if I go in another tab, so now I'm at like flavorvault.mocha.app and boom, I have my app, it's live. I can sign in with Google. We're gonna explore it in the app, but like everything's working. So notice how easy this was. Like if you've ever built a website before, there's a lot that's happening behind the scenes that you just don't have to worry about. Mocha just takes care of everything for you. Now notice this thing here. This is the watermark. Obviously, you might not want that to be live, and you could remove that if you're a paid subscriber by removing the watermark and then publishing again, which I'll do right now. And then that means we won't have the watermark. Cool. I would like to go back to building. So we have the most basic version of our site, right? I've showed you how to go from 0 to 1 with one prompt. Roughly, you've already got a good sense of how Mocha works. You speak English to it. You ask for things like features or new designs or bug fixes or whatever it is. And it is a developer and project manager that decides to do things in a certain way. It's a very opinionated way that we think is the best way, that makes things kind of like work very well. And then it will build them for you. So maybe let's use the app a little bit and see what we want to change about it. So I'm going to log in. So I'm logged in, public recipes, my recipes. I'm going to add a recipe. Let's look at what this feels like. I know, chicken tikka masala. I like chicken tikka masala. Delicious curry type dish. I'm not going to fit all this out, but actually I will. Servings 4, difficulty medium, category entree, ingredients lots of. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a very good job of improvising live. One is like prep the meal and cook the meal. This is pretty bad, but I can choose to make the recipe public. So I'm going to hit create, and then I'm going to see in my recipes I have chicken tikka masala. This is pretty cool. There's no image here. I'm wondering why there's no image. So let's say we wanted to change something about the site. Maybe we want there to be a set of default public recipes. So we could ask that. We could be like, please add a set of default public recipes that people can browse. Maybe start with 3. I'm just going to keep it simple. You could have Mocha go crazy here and do a lot, but let's start with 3. And so it's going to go and create some data. It's going to put it in the database. It's going to kind of initialize the site. And so you're getting a good idea here of like how to work with Mocha, which is just like ask for what you want on the left, and then like it does it on the right. While it's working, I'm going to talk about a couple other things. Every time you ask for something, every time you make a request to Mocha, we create a new version of the app. You can go back in time and view, not while it's working, Mocha's working right now, but once it's done, you could go back in time and you could undo, you could Control Z. You could restore a previous one, you could view a previous one. And this is very handy because Mocha will make mistakes. It's just like AI is not perfect, and sometimes you ask for too much. Some people ask for crazy things, and so it can't do it. That's okay. You can always walk it back and say, I want to restore the previous version. This is not working. That's very important, and actually a very big tip I have. Like when something's going wrong with vibe coding, when it starts bugging out and you ask it to fix it and you ask it twice to fix it and it's clearly not fixing it, like instead of digging kind of your own grave and piling on spaghetti code onto the problem, clearly if the AI knew how to fix it, it would fix it immediately. So if it can't do it after 1 or 2 tries, you can try to use discuss mode and be like, hey, ultra think really deep, think really deeply about the problem, go and try and figure out what it is, and then if it comes up with something unique, you could try build it. But really what I recommend is to restore a previous version and to attack your feature in a more atomic and like incremental way. So if you're trying to do something really big, just do like the next step and get Mocha to work step by step. Just like a human, it has to write code. If it's writing a lot of code at once that does a lot of things, that just increases the surface area, the probability that something will go wrong. If you have it do one thing and it's very well scoped, it's much more likely that the AI, just like a human, will do it correctly and quickly. And so like that should be, when you're building, your job as the operator of Mocha or as the vibe coder, your job is to break down a problem into incremental atomic steps that you could use an app like Mocha to build one by one. And that's like a really important tip. All right, while I was talking, it's created like a bunch of public recipes. They're not my recipes, so they're public recipes. That's great. And they're all visible here. I want to show a couple other things before we keep going. So one thing is styling. So right now, I actually kind of like the way this is styled. But let's say I didn't like it. Let's say I wanted to have a different vibe. Mocha is really good at design. So you could say, I want to update the site's design. Please make it look like, and so I don't know what we could pick. We could pick an app that's popular, like an Apple app. Apple has a cool style. You could also, I didn't do it here, but you could also upload a screenshot and say, I like this design. Please make it look like this design, and it will do a good job. I'm going to accelerate this, so bear with me. All right, Mocha is done. Let's take a look at what it did. Look at this. So it changed the whole vibe of the site, and it looks a lot like an Apple app now, they actually did a good job. This kind of does look like an Apple app. There's lots of blue and white. There's more color than Apple would do, but I'm not going to complain too much. This looks really clean. Cool. Before we move on to the next step, I want to show you a tip. So I've noticed that when I click to my recipes, you see this button? It's not the full width. That's kind of annoying me. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to paste the screenshot to Mocha. So I'm hitting Command V and pasting the screenshot here. You could also attach it by just doing insert and browsing your computer for it. And I'm going to say the My Recipes button doesn't take the full width of its container and it looks weird. Please fix it. So I just uploaded a screenshot. Mocha can see things. So if you give it a screenshot, it will go and look at it. It could also take screenshots of the app itself, which is cool, but that cannot always work because depending on, like, it would need to click, and right now it can't click on things. Okay, so here it did something that I don't love, which is it stacked them horizontally, but now browse recipes looks weird. I actually like it horizontal. But I don't want the browse recipes to wrap. And I'm going to paste that image so I could see what it looks like, and it's going to go and fix that as well. Okay, and here we go. And so now I'm happy with things. See how I use screenshots to kind of teach it how to see? This is like a real strength of these kind of vibe coding apps like Mocha, is that you could really be you could do visual iteration. Now I don't want to spend too much time on the visuals. You could build your app to make it look as cool, as unique as you want. Before I move to anything else, I'm going to show you about toggle direct edit mode. So I could come and modify this. I could say, bienvenue. I'm French, so maybe I like the word bienvenue. So you notice how I just changed the text. There's a direct edit mode, which allows you to just edit text really, really quickly and really easily. It will soon be also a way that you can change like anything, images. But right now it only allows you to modify text. Still, it's a powerful trick that you should know how to use. The next thing I want to show you is custom knowledge. So in settings, you can go to knowledge and you can say here, like, I'm building Flavor Vault. It's a recipe sharing site. The audience is for food aficionados. I don't know how to write that actually. It should feel homey and professional both at the same time. So I like to use custom knowledge, which is going to be sent, like I'm going to save this. Every time you make a change in Mocha, we're going to send custom knowledge. So it's a really good place to explain what the core of your idea is, who your main audience is, if there's a design vibe that you like. There might be some acronyms or some domain knowledge that's specific to you. You might be using an API that's like kind of obscure, and you might want to add some data there as well. So that's all possible, and I recommend using custom knowledge for this. We just talked about adding features. By the way, I want to just show that like there's data in the database now. So there's my user and there are the recipes. Here we go. These are all the recipes that are currently in the database. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple other things that are cool. You can generate images on Mocha. So let's say we want to generate a logo for this app. I could say like generate a logo for this app and add it to the home page. Use image generation. And so this under the hood, Mocha knows how to generate images. It's going to create, it knows a lot about the app Flavor Vault. And so it's going to create an image and then show it. See, I'm going to generate a professional logo for Flavor Vault. Captures the essence of the recipe sharing platform, combining culinary elements with a modern, trustworthy design that feels both homey and professional. Remember that? That's from the custom knowledge. So because we put that data in there, it's like smart about this now and it knows how to use it. So it's created a little logo. I can barely see it, but it's up there. Flavor Vault, recipe sharing horror. I don't think that's the best logo ever, but it's a logo, and we'll keep it. I shown you how to add authentication. I mean, it just built authentication, but at any point you could ask Mocha, like, please add users and profiles, and it will just build like a login with Gmail. Right now, we only support login with Google. We think this is a great way to get users to sign in because it's very good at anti-spam. Google basically protects you from spam and fake accounts. You could also ask Mocha to add email password and it knows how to do it, but it doesn't use our authentication SDK. It's a bit of a hack. Like basically the AI is so clever that it knows how to use a database to create email password. But we'll be adding more login methods soon. So I've given a high level overview of Mocha. Mocha is a place you can come. You could build your ideas. You can iterate on your ideas. You can edit them. You could publish them to the web in one click. And you could go live and go from zero to traction. I want to encourage everybody to kind of try this out. We've given a code for the DEXA conference. You should try this out. Nearly everyone has ideas that they could build. Nearly everyone has ideas in their heads. It could be as simple as a private social media app for me and my family, or it could be your basketball team has a league and you want to make a site that allows everybody to upload pictures and get a schedule. Or maybe you have a business and you want to build a website that allows people to add a loyalty program and send them emails. Maybe you want to be a web entrepreneur and build a SaaS, software as a service. Like, I don't know, maybe you want to generate LinkedIn or Twitter posts with AI and generate images, and you want, if people pay, they can generate a certain amount of posts a month or something. That's just one idea, but there's infinite ideas. The internet is the ultimate way to reach like people all over the world. Look at me talking to you right now about an app that can use the internet to build things. You don't need permission to publish a site. You just need an idea. Now you have a tool like Mocha. Nothing is stopping you. You should get at it. Get vibe coding. Start working. By the way, in this whole demo, everything worked. I guess I was lucky. I guess Mocha's pretty good, but also it's not perfect, and sometimes it'll break. When it does break, it's okay. Don't panic. This is just a process of building things with code. You need to first try to get the AI to fix it. We have a button like Fix with AI that will appear when things break. You can also use discuss mode here to explain what's breaking and try and get the AI to reason about it. And then finally, you could restore previous versions and just attack the problem from a different angle. And you need to show a little bit of resourcefulness. Building things is never going to be super straightforward. It's always going to require a little bit of resourcefulness, and that's okay. But what you don't need anymore is to know how to code. And that's very powerful. So you still need to be creative in your problem solving and good at breaking down the problem and clarifying what you want. And another tip, by the way, is you could use discuss mode or ChatGPT even to talk about your product and be like, what do you think is a good feature to build next? If you want to get inspiration, you could literally use AI to help you scope things out. It will probably make suggestions. If you like them, you could say, go build that. Or you could say, no, I want it to be more this or that. But AI could be useful in your idea refining stage, in addition to just your building stage. What did it suggest? It said, view recipe for information, improve readability, clean focused layout, lay groundwork for future features, dedicated detail page. Yeah. So there's no dedicated detail page if I click on these, there's no dedicated page. That's a great idea. So I could be like, create detail page for recipe. Boom, and it's going to go to work. I'm going to talk a bit about pricing for Mocha. So you subscribe to Mocha. It's a monthly basis. It's only $20 a month on our cheapest tier. The most reasonable tier, I think, is $50. If you're building something serious, you're going to want to be on the silver tier. And then if you're super serious, a lot of people kind of upgrade to gold, especially when they're in the build phase. Now, what do you get? On each tier, you get a certain amount of credits every month. It starts at 1,500, 4,500 on silver, and then 25,000 on gold. You also get the ability to connect a certain number of domains, like up to 5 on the bronze tier, and then up to 15 on silver, and up to 25 on gold. You can remove watermarks, and over time, there are new features that come that we typically release only to bronze and above. So this is, in my opinion, this is why Mocha is so amazing. $20 a month to build a website using code that you could deploy one click is insane. I've been a developer for 15 years. This 10 years ago would have cost, like the recipe website I just showed you, that I just did in 25 minutes, would have cost at least $5,000 or $10,000 and would have taken at least days, probably weeks. And so there's a lot to be said about how cheap this is getting. Like building ideas is really becoming a commodity. And now it's going to be the era of idea people. And I'm super, super excited about this. This is why we're building Mocha. I really love the idea that everybody's heads is full of ideas and the creativity of the world is untapped. Only 1% of the world is really building their ideas. And now we're going to go to a much larger percentage. Cool. So that's pretty much my talk for the Techvival Africa conference. As I said, there's a code that you'll find that your host will give you that will give you a discount and allow you to try Mocha with like good rates to get started. Everybody could get started for free. I highly recommend playing with tools like these. Nearly everybody has a use case, whether it's for your business, for your family, for your friends, for your community, for yourself, just to learn how to use a modern tool. There's many reasons why you would try. It's free to get started. $20 a month is nothing for potentially unlimited upside of building something that's useful to the world and that can change people's lives by solving their problem. And that's it. That's it for me. It was great being here. Good luck to everybody. Enjoy the conference and talk soon.